Good day, Cochrane. Welcome to another edition of Fireside Chat with Mayor Jeff Janung. Today we're obviously not coming coming to you fireside. We're coming to you from the Mayor's office, right here at my desk. This is where I spend a lot of my time, and so we are doing the Fireside Chat here today. So let's get right into last night's meeting. I've got the agenda, really thick one, and my notes from the meeting, February 11th council meeting last night. Council started out with a bylaw, pretty important one actually, Bylaw 03-2019. It was Sunset Ridge Stage 2 Area Structure Plan. And so there was an area structure plan in place already, and an area structure plan is kind of like the top, very broad-based planning document that an area would start with to start putting concepts in place and some ideas around what the land is going to be used for inside a subdivision. And obviously there was one in Sunset Ridge, but now because we are looking at annexing a little chunk of the, I wish I could zoom out and show you the map here, but a little strip on the north side of Sunset Ridge that will have allow us to build the ultimate access into Sunset Ridge. So with annexation pending with the province, we have to adjust the text in the area structure plan for Sunset Ridge, and we did that last night. So it was just kind of a boundary change and some small changes and tweaks in the area structure plan, but generally everything stayed the same, just to allow for us to do some annexation. So that was approved. Then we moved into the neighborhood plan. I moved things around on the agenda last night, so this was 5A, now it's 6A. So Sunset Ridge Stage 3 neighborhood plan, so that's the next document down that gets into a little more detail. So what we talked about within the plan for Stage 3, and what I'm most excited about is that it will, like I said, allow that second access into Sunset Ridge. So something we heard a lot about, residents in Sunset Ridge have been very concerned about only having one access to their subdivision for all of the residents that live there. So in order for us to be able to get a second access onto the highway, we needed to approve this neighborhood plan and Stage 3 of Sunset Ridge. So overall there will be about 650, I believe, units, residential units that will be inside that Stage 3. But here's the big but. That's funny. Second access will have to be done first with all of the, well, I'm just going to go right into my notes here. I made sure that I put it in here. We were on 6A. Use these handy little tabs. Here we go. In order to construct all the units in Stage 3, the dual left-hand turn lane from the existing Sunset Boulevard onto Highway 22 will need to be opened up. While the infrastructure is in place for this on Sunset Boulevard, this will also require the twinning of southbound Highway 22 between Highway 1A intersection and Sunset Boulevard intersection. So in a nutshell, what that means is that the infrastructure is required first before any more residential units can be built in Stage 3. I believe they're able to do about 150 units without doing any upgrades, but then the remainder will have to wait until the upgrades to the highway are done. Dual turn lanes onto from Sunset Boulevard onto Highway 22 must be completed before any more residential. So that is a pretty big hurdle that needs to be crossed before any more development can happen. So there will be some that say that why are we approving more development? Well, the entire reason for this approval last night was to get access onto the highway again on a second access to Sunset Ridge. So also in the plan, which is quite exciting, a school site, a large central community park, and those two comprise of about 14 acres. There will be connections to the regional pathways, the pedestrian connections, a pond, off-leash dog park. We've heard from quite a few members of the community that there is a need for more off-leash dog parks, so this Stage 3 will include that. A central green spine that goes up the center of the community that that will connect into the northbound neighborhood park. And also, originally when the area structure plan was first done, the developer in Sunset Ridge, Melcor, talked about having a higher density in stage 3. So now, given the housing market and the pressures that we have in our community on housing and how many units are for sale around town, they have lowered the density in this area so that there will be less less dense and less R2, R3, and more single family and less density. So there will be less people overall in stage 3. So less density, we need the infrastructure done so that we can get the second access built, and then development can continue. So that was actually the biggest part of the meeting last night was this Sunset Ridge Stage 3 neighborhood plan, and it was passed by council. So moving along, we then went to, we have first reading of another bylaw for Sunset Ridge, same area, for the land use. So now we had area structure plan, then we had neighborhood plan, and now land use is the next level in the development hierarchy, I guess, if you want to go down zoom in another layer into land use. So land use is the next step in this development, and that's what they will be looking for to council to approve a land use for that area that I just talked about. So that was first reading, and a public hearing was set. Then we got into the textual change into the land use bylaw. This was a separate bylaw altogether. And this textual amendment was just, as you know, we're going through a land use bylaw review right now. There's been something like 111 different amendments to our land use bylaw, so it's time that we updated it. So this was a small update in the interim until we actually get to the land use bylaw, which I'll get to next in the agenda. So this is to allow fitness studios and recreational vehicle storage, and that's not to be mixed up with RV, say, parking on residential lots. This is to allow this use in the industrial area of town. So those two changes to the text of the land use bylaw were approved last night by council. Next, we got into another bylaw, and this was first reading also for the second borrowing for the bridge project. So this will be the Bow River Bridge South Arterial Road borrowing. So in order for us to borrow money, we have to go through a public process to do so, and this is the beginning of that. So this was first reading only. It will be coming back, I would assume, to the next council meeting for approval by council. It was $9 million being sought out, and this was all in the budget that we've already put in place for the bridge project. Moving on, I talked about land use bylaw. So we got a review last night, pretty lengthy review from staff. We had a lot of documents given to us last night in the presentation, and I was teasing Riley Weldon, our senior planner, that he has probably the longest delegation to council or presentation to council since I've been elected anyways, but it was very well done. We found, we're given basically an update on where his team is on the land use bylaw review that they're doing. It's a couple of years that it's going to take us to get all the way through. They have a 4-phase project that they're working on, and I won't get into all the details on it, but they've done a lot of community engagement with stakeholders, being from residents to businesses, the development industry, builders, anybody everybody is affected by the land use bylaw. So they've done a lot of work in engaging people and getting feedback on what we could tweak in it, what we can change, what land uses need to be moved around or adjusted so that we can continue to build a community of choice here in Cochrane, and we would like to build a document that is going to at least last for another 10 or 15, maybe even 20 years with some slight updates along the way. So We had, like I said, a lengthy presentation that really went in depth about the next steps. They're a few months behind on what they thought they were going to be, but that's, we want to do this well and we want to do it right and get it right. So really the timeline it's important, but not the driver behind this. It's the content and getting it done correctly that we're really focusing on. And I'm happy to say that the project is on budget so far, and things are moving along well. So that was the land use bylaw update, or review update. Next up was downtown parking study. So this was a study, I believe, coined by the last council in the downtown area. They did a parking study on the historic downtown and what the other half they're calling the south downtown, which is the quarry side. So it was very interesting, basically saying that we don't have a parking problem in the downtown. We have enough stalls. They're being used properly. There are a couple of high use areas that see higher volumes than the rest of the downtown area, and that perhaps we need to do some looking at some parking solutions in those areas only. So there's a criteria when they do a parking study that there's 85% threshold of stalls used, and we're seeing that like I said, in a couple areas in the historic downtown only, we're seeing that 85 to 87% utilization. So there's a couple of spikes in those areas that we will have to look at. And I think what really came out of that for me was that the parking study is that we have to reevaluate how we look at parking. So the staff are doing that now. There's really nothing coming out of it in the short term. We're going to now do a kind of a study on the remainder of, say, the industrial area of the downtown, and then this has really given us a benchmark to see how things are improving. Bringing transit on later this fall should adjust and have some impact on the parking. So we'll do another flyover, and it's really, I don't want to make it sound easy, but it's a simple study where they fly over with the drone, take pictures at certain times a day, and then just study those pictures, and that's how they give us the data. So we can do a couple more flyovers and see if transit is helping, if things have improved. If things have not improved, then we'll look at, say, other types of solutions that would be available to us. Maybe we'd put in, and part of the problem is people may be parking in some of these zones for a long period of time, and we would like to see those spots turn over quickly. So maybe we put in a parking, a 2-hour, say, parking restriction, so to get people to move on in those areas. So it's kind of the retail areas that are being, seeing those spikes above the 85%. So that could be one solution. I'm not saying that's what we're going to do, but that is something we would look at. And that was the parking study. The last piece of business that we talked about last night was the Horse Creek quarter section funding request. So you may recall we did the tri-site concept plan study last year that council approved. And that was looking at the 3 town-owned lands downtown, the 5th Avenue site where the rodeo grounds and the old pool was, the Esso Bulk Station, and the library site. So in particular, we really were working under the premise that once we've identified what buildings could go on what pieces of property, and in particular the 5th Avenue site, we will not displace anyone or any use without having some place for them to go. So what's really come to light is that, and I'll just say, for example, use the seniors housing as an example, that if we were to say move the Big Hill Lodge down to where the tri-site concept plan showed that seniors housing complex would go, we would end up displacing a ball diamond, the Rodeo North ball diamond. So now we have to back up in the process and say, well, where are we going to put the ball diamond? So the quarter quarter section that I'm talking about is the other piece that the town is looking to annex. And like I said, we're waiting for the province to get back to us on that. And we should know by July, we're hoping, that that would all have gone through. And then we will have our boundaries go around the quarter section north on Horse Creek Road. So that quarter section, other than a small, I think about roughly 30 acres, would go to Rocky View School Division for a new high school. The remainder of it would be outdoor recreation. So what this study will do, and the town staff last night came and asked for a funding request so that they could do a study on what, not only just who and what uses could go on the quarter section, but also the costs that will be incurred on servicing to run water and sewer and stormwater there, and also stripping and grading so that the whole site can be developed, I guess, into sports fields. So there's quite a bit of work that needs to go into that. The beginning of it will be obviously who will move there. Ball diamonds, soccer, rugby. There's a whole list. Council's been seeing a few delegations from different sporting clubs, etc. in town that have come forward saying, with growth of their clubs, they need more space. So this is not news. This is something we've been aware of for a while, but the quarter section will allow us to have roughly 130 acres that we can develop just for outdoor sports. So exciting. So council did approve that last night, and the staff now will go away and do all the work that I talked about and come back to council with a plan and a bit of a concept of how it will look, who will be there, and when we could do it and how much it will cost. So that's what that was about. So other than that, that was council in a nutshell. Hopefully I haven't gone on too long about things. Again, one of the things I'm going to start doing on the Fireside Chat is inviting different guests. So if you know of somebody that is a community builder, somebody doing something positive in the community that has not gotten enough attention, and that you would like them to their story be told, I'm going to have kind of a 2-minute little interview on upcoming Fireside Chats, where I'm going to be inviting community builders and community representatives that are doing great things in our community, and there's so many. So I'm going to invite them to come on the Fireside Chats with me. So if you know of somebody, please send me a text, an email, call the town staff here, go on my Facebook page and send me a message. However you want to get a hold of me, I think I'd be welcoming anybody that would want to come on and share with the community about what all the great things they're doing. So until next time, that's a wrap on Fireside Chat. Bye for now.